On Instagram, they looked perfect. Courtney Clenney, a blonde fitness influencer from Texas, had over 2 million followers. Her photos showed a life full of sunshine, beaches, and smiles. Every post looked like a dream. Expensive clothes, luxury apartments, romantic vacations. And beside her, in almost every photo, was her boyfriend, Obumseli, a tall, handsome man with a bright smile. To the world, they were the perfect couple. But behind those smiling photos, something dark was growing. Courtney and Christian lived in a high-rise apartment in Miami, Florida. From their 22nd floor balcony, they could see the ocean. But inside that apartment, peace was long gone. Neighbors often heard shouting, crashing, and screaming late at night. Police were called more than once, but each time, the couple smiled, said it was just a small fight, and the officers left. But it wasn't small. It was dangerous. Courtney had fame and money. She earned thousands of dollars each month from her OnlyFans account and brand deals. Christian worked in crypto, trying to build his own business. On social media, they kept smiling. But friends told a different story. Courtney could be jealous, angry, and violent when she drank. Christian, on the other hand, tried to calm things down, but sometimes his words only made her angrier. It was a toxic love, full of passion, but also full of pain. In early 2022, things started to fall apart fast. Courtney was drinking more. Her friends saw bruises on Christian's arms. One night in Las Vegas, someone filmed her screaming at him in a hotel hallway. That video spread online, but her fans thought it was just drama. Nobody imagined it would end in murder. By April, Courtney and Christian had moved into a luxury building in Miami called One Paraiso. It had glass walls, a pool, and 24-hour security. Cameras were everywhere, but on the afternoon of April 3rd, 2022, those cameras would capture something that would shock the world. That day started quietly. At around 4:30 p.m., residents in the building heard loud shouting from apartment 2201 Courtney's unit. It wasn't the first time, but this time, it sounded worse. A woman's scream echoed down the hallway, followed by the sound of something heavy hitting the floor. A few minutes later, Courtney was seen on the lobby security camera, her body covered in blood, her hands shaking. She was crying and yelling, "He tried to kill me! He tried to kill me!" When police rushed upstairs, they found Christian on the floor, bleeding heavily from a deep stab wound to his chest. He was still alive, but only for a few moments. Before paramedics could reach him, he took his last breath. Courtney told the officers it was self-defense. She said Christian had attacked her, and she had to protect herself. The knife, she said, was just something she grabbed in fear. But something about her story didn't add up. The wound was deep, too deep for a quick defense strike, and investigators noticed her clothes were almost clean, while blood covered Christian and the apartment walls. As detectives began their work, something strange happened. Courtney went live on social media, crying, shaking, asking people not to judge her. The live stream spread everywhere. Millions watched as she appeared in tears, saying, "I loved him. I didn't mean to hurt him." Some people believed her. Others called her a liar. The internet exploded with hashtags #Justice for Christian and #Free Courtney. Everyone had an opinion. Was she a victim or a killer? While the world argued online, detectives quietly collected evidence. Security footage, text messages, and witness reports began to tell a very different story. Courtney and Christian had fought that morning about another woman. He was planning to leave her. Her phone showed angry texts, threats, and voice messages from days before. In one message, Christian told a friend, "If anything happens to me, it's her." Neighbors told police they often heard Courtney shouting things like, "I'll kill you," when she was drunk. And the building staff confirmed that security had been called multiple times for domestic fights. But perhaps the most shocking evidence came from Courtney's own phone. There were videos she had recorded herself fights, crying, yelling, even hitting him. It was like she was documenting the fall of their relationship without realizing it would one day be used against her. One short clip showed her attacking him in an elevator, pushing, slapping, pulling his hair, while he just stood still, trying to calm her down. That clip went viral within hours. Millions watched and gasped. This was control. Still, the question remained. What really happened inside that apartment on April 3rd? Did Christian attack her first? Or did she lose control? The truth was locked inside that luxury apartment, and only 2 people knew what happened. One was dead. The other was live streaming her version to millions. After the crime, Courtney was taken for a mental evaluation. Police said she seemed calm. While Christian's family cried for justice, Courtney checked into a rehab center in Hawaii, saying she needed therapy for trauma and alcoholism. For months, nothing happened. No arrest, no trial. Just silence. Many began to think she had escaped justice. But detectives were not done. They had something powerful: video evidence from the building cameras and digital records from her phone. Every timestamp, every message, every scream told a story of slow destruction. A love that turned into obsession. As the investigation deepened, prosecutors prepared their case. Take I-8, Eat the Murder That Livestreamed. A story where social media became both the mask and the mirror, showing one life online and hiding another offline. Courtney Clenney had spent years building a perfect image, but now, that same image, the fame, the followers, livestream, would become our biggest enemy. Days turned into weeks, and the world couldn't stop talking about Courtney Clenney. The blonde influencer, once loved for her fitness videos and luxury lifestyle, was now known for something dark. A murderer inside a Miami apartment. Her face filled the news. Her name was on every social media feed, and everyone had one question: was she a victim or a killer? Behind the scenes, detectives worked quietly, searching for the truth that Courtney's livestream could not hide. When police entered her apartment, they found a scene that looked like a nightmare. Blood was everywhere on the floor, the walls, even on the kitchen counter. A knife lay near the sink, and a broken wine glass was on the ground. Courtney told police she had thrown the knife but the stab wound on Christian's chest was deep and straight into the heart, the kind of wound that looked more like anger than fear. Investigators noticed something strange. Courtney had only one small cut on her leg, already starting to heal. There were no bruises on her arms or face, no signs of struggle. If Christian had really attacked her, why did she look almost unharmed? The story didn't match. The knife had her fingerprints, the walls had Christian's blood, and there was alcohol all around the kitchen. It seemed clear that a fight had turned violent after drinking, and only one of them had survived. When detectives pulled footage from the building's security cameras, things became clearer. Earlier that day, Christian had entered the elevator, carrying food, calm and smiling. Just an hour later, neighbors heard screams. At 4:30 p.m., the cameras captured Courtney rushing into the lobby, her white clothes covered in blood, shouting that he tried to kill her. But older camera footage told a different story. About a month before the murder, the same elevator had recorded Courtney attacking Christian. She slapped him, pulled his hair, and shoved him into the wall while he stood still, trying to calm her down. That video went viral, and people were shocked. The sweet, smiling influencer they admired online suddenly looked violent and out of control. Many began to believe Christian had been the victim long before that deadly night. Christian's family spoke out in pain. His brother said Christian had wanted to leave her but was scared. He told reporters she was abusive. He said one day she might hurt him. Police checked Christian's phone and found hundreds of text messages showing constant fights, jealousy, and fear. In one message, Christian wrote, "You're scaring me, Courtney." In another, "Why do you always hit me when you're drunk?" Her replies were short and cold. There were also voice messages of her yelling, throwing things, and cursing him. The happy couple online was just an illusion. Behind the filters was a toxic storm. By July 2022, after 4 months of investigation, detectives were sure. They called it a pattern of abuse that ended in murder. On August 10th, 2022, Courtney Clenney was arrested in Hawaii, where she had checked into a rehab center. U.S. Marshals surrounded her and took her into custody for second-degree murder. The internet went wild again. Some people defended her, saying she acted in self. Others demanded justice for Christian. The influencer, once known for beauty and success, now appeared in handcuffs. her eyes empty and expression cold. When police revealed the full story, it became clear how things happened that day. Courtney and Christian had argued about money and trust. Christian wanted to leave. She refused to let him go. The fight grew heated, and Courtney grabbed a kitchen knife. Christian tried to calm her down, but one quick, angry movement ended everything. She stabbed him in the chest, and the knife went straight into his heart. Christian tried to walk toward the door, leaving bloody handprints along the wall before collapsing on the floor. Courtney called 911, but by the time paramedics arrived, Christian was gone. The autopsy confirmed it. A single, deep wound caused instant death. There were no defensive injuries on Courtney. No broken furniture. No proof of a struggle. Her story about self-defense started to crumble. Her lawyer argued that she was a victim of long-term abuse, and that she had been protecting herself. But the evidence told a different story. Detectives also questioned her strange decision to go live on social media after the killing. Millions watched her crying, shaking, and saying, "I loved him. I didn't mean to hurt him." But investigators wondered, was it guilt? Or was she trying to control the story before the truth came out? When they asked her why she went live, she said softly, "I didn't know what else to do. I wanted people to understand, but the public didn't understand." It turned against her. Clips from her live stream turned into memes. The elevator video was played again and again on news channels. Her glamorous image was destroyed. What once looked like a perfect relationship now looked like a warning about fame, anger, and control. Christian's family held his funeral in Texas, his mother crying over his photo while his brother demanded justice. Courtney remained in jail, silent and expressionless, waiting for her trial. The prosecutor called her case the murder that Livestream decided. Wasn't he self-defense? It was ego and rage. He told the court, "This is the story of jealousy and control hidden." Months had passed since Courtney Clenney's arrest, but the case refused to fade from the headlines. The influencer who once posted smiling workout videos was now a national obsession. Her name filled news feeds, court updates, and YouTube thumbnails. Some called her a murderer. Others still believed she was an innocent woman trapped in a violent relationship. But everyone agreed there was something terrifying about how public this tragedy had become. Inside her jail cell in Miami, Courtney waited for the trial to begin. She spent her days writing in a notebook, sometimes sketching, sometimes crying. To the guards, she seemed calm, almost too calm. But behind those quiet moments, she knew her entire life depended on what the jury would see next. The final video found on her phone. Prosecutors said the video was the missing piece of the puzzle, the one that would reveal what truly happened between Courtney and Christian that day. It was short, only a few minutes long, but every second was evidence of a love turned deadly. In the courtroom, reporters filled every seat. Cameras waited outside. When the judge allowed the video to be played, the room went silent. On the big screen, the last moments of their relationship began to unfold. The footage showed Christian sitting on the couch, his voice calm but tired. He said softly, "Courtney, please stop yelling. I'm tired of this." Courtney's voice was louder, angry. "You're lying to me again. Who are you texting? Say, scream it." Christian raised his hands, saying, "Nobody. I'm done fighting." But Courtney didn't stop. She moved closer, shouting, her words full of rage. Then she picked something from the counter, a knife. The video ended there. No blood, no violence caught on camera. But the seconds before the screen went black told a story. Her voice filled with fury. His voice filled with fear. The jury stared in silence. Some shook their heads. It was clear who had lost control that day. After the video, the prosecution presented message after message. Christian's texts, his recordings, his friends' testimonies. They painted a picture of a man who had loved deeply but lived in fear. They showed photos of bruises, reports of police visits, and a timeline of repeated fights that always ended with her anger. "The prosecutors!" Final words echoed in the courtroom. She didn't just stab him that day. She broke him long before that. Fame was her mask, and love was her weapon. Courtney's lawyers fought back, arguing that Christian had also been aggressive at times, that she had mental health struggles, and that the stabbing was an accident caused by panic. But even they couldn't deny the power of that final video. Outside the courtroom, thousands followed the trial like a movie. Hashtags like #JusticeForChristian and #CourtneyTrial trended daily. News outlets replayed her live stream, her mugshot, her crying clips, over and over. The world had turned their private pain into public entertainment. As the weeks passed, witnesses described the couple's toxic relationship. Neighbors spoke about hearing screams almost every weekend. Friends told the court that Courtney was often jealous and controlling. One even said she used to threaten Christian, saying, "If you ever leave me, I'll ruin your life." When it was finally time for Courtney to speak, the courtroom fell silent. She stood up, her hands trembling, her face pale. In a low, broken voice, she said, "I loved him. I never meant to kill him. It all happened too fast," she cried softly, wiping her tears. But her words didn't move the jury. They had already seen too much. During the final day of the trial, the jury took only a few hours to reach a decision. The courtroom filled with whispers as the judge returned. Courtney sat still, her hands shaking. The verdict was read slowly. Guilty of second-degree murder. A gasp filled the room. Some people cried, others clapped quietly. Christian's family held hands, tears rolling down their faces. After months of waiting, they finally had justice. Courtney lowered her head, staring at the floor. Her life, once full of fame and money, was now reduced to cold walls and silence. The judge sentenced her to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 25 years. She didn't say a word, just nodded slowly, her eyes empty. The influencer who once lived for the camera now had nowhere to hide. When the trial ended, reporters surrounded Christian's family. His mother said in tears, "No